Hello everybody and welcome to the second episode of Making It with Mac in our Intro to Cricut series. Today we are going to learn how to do a decal and we're going to learn how to cut a 2-color or more design. I'm going to show you a 2-color, but the application is still the same if you're going to do more than 2 colors. I had some specific requests for the 2-color design and then also for a car decal. So this is going to apply to both of those requests. So what you're going to need is you're going to need adhesive vinyl, which is different than what we used in our first one, which was iron-on or heat transfer vinyl. Adhesive vinyl is kind of just like one big sticker that you cut out. You have permanent adhesive vinyl and temporary adhesive vinyl. And kind of just depending on the project you're going to do is what kind of vinyl you're going to want to use. So temporary is really good for like wall decals, to use as stencils if you're like doing a painting project, for indoor signs. Let's say like you're wanting to, you have like a piece of wood that you want to change out for the seasons, you can, or the holidays, you can add temporary vinyl, adhesive vinyl to it, and then you can switch it out for each season. Permanent vinyl is going to be the things that you want to stay permanent. So car decals, decals on like mugs or cups or anything like that. So any like outdoor sign, anything that needs a strong hold. So first, you're just going to decide what kind of vinyl that you need depending on the project that you're doing. Today, I'm just going to show you how to make a sunflower decal. So I picked these two to mess around with. The yellow will be the sunflower part and the black is going to be the monogram. So let's get over to the computer and I will show you guys how to set up a 2-color design on Cricut Design Space. Okay, so here is the design that I'm going to be showing you guys how to make with the adhesive vinyl. So what I'm going to first do is come over to my Cricut Design Space and click New Project. Okay, so now I'm going to upload an image just like I would usually. Now there are 2 different ways that you can bring in an image with 2 different colors. I'm going to show you my favorite way first, and then I'm going to show you the other way second. So the first thing that I'm going to do is go to upload an image just like I usually would. So I'm going to click my monogram and bring it up. So obviously you can see that it's bringing up the 2 different colors. I'm going to hit simple, because it is a simple image, and bring it to the next page. So now this does have a white background on it. So the first thing that I'm going to do is click my wand tool over here, and I'm going to erase all the white that is part of the background because I don't want any white in my image. So now I'm left with a transparent background. Now if your image is already transparent, remember you don't have to do this, but I wanted to remind you guys how to get rid of the background. So the next thing I'm going to do is decide what color I want to do first. So I'm going to go ahead and do the yellow sunflower part first. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all of that on the inside. Now you can see that has kind of left some outlines. So now what I can do is come up here, click the erase button, and I can do the circle erase and kind of go through and erase all of this extra lines. Now, if your image is already transparent, it shouldn't do this. It should be pretty clean. But I wanted to show you guys what to do just in case you're using an image that has a white background. Like I said, when I do my designing, I always make the background transparent and I make it very large so I don't have to go through and do this. But if you don't have access to a design program like Illustrator, I want to make sure you guys know the process to clean your image up really well. And now I'm just going to go and get rid of all of those lines in the middle. So now all I'm left with is the yellow sunflower. I'm going to go down to the bottom, click continue. So now, remember it brings it up to this print then cut or save as a cut image. You want to save as a cut image. But I can look in here and I can see that there's still some mistakes that I missed. So I'm going to go back, click my eraser tool again, and just go through and get those little spots that I missed. Because you want your image to look clean. Go to the next page, still missed it. It's hard to see. I'm going to try it one more time to get, whoops. If you messed up like I just did, see I accidentally took a big circle out of it right there. You can just come up here, click the undo button. Okay, let's try again. Try to get all these spots out. Look at it one more time. Okay, now it looks clean. I'm gonna click save as a cut image and save it. Okay, so now we have the sunflower part. Now we just go in, again, bring that same image up, and this time we're gonna do the opposite. We're gonna get rid of everything but the monogram part. So first I'm gonna go through and get rid of all the white. And now I'm gonna get rid of all the yellow. I'm gonna go ahead and go in with my eraser tool because I have a feeling it'll be easier to get it as clean as possible. So I'm gonna go through and take away all the yellow. Now, this is a little bit harder just because it had that white background. So the second method may be easier. And you may like it better. I just have noticed that when I do the second method, is sometimes my Cricut design space messes up and I have a harder time doing it. But you can decide which method works best for you. This one, because there's so many individual pieces like the petals, it takes a little longer to do it this way. Okay, I'm gonna run around it one more time. And hit continue. Okay, there's a little spot that I missed. It's hard to see because the yellow kind of blends in. And I'm gonna try to get all of those little spots back. And now it looks good. So again, save as cut image and then save. So now I have my two pieces. And now what you do is you can bring both of these in by hitting shift. I have to do it with my other hand. You hit shift and you can bring both of these images in at the same time and then click insert images. Okay, so now both our images are inserted. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is change these colors. So I know I want the petals to be yellow and I want this to be black. But again, you can pick any colors you want. And this should already be sized to fit right in the middle because it's the same exact image that we used. Okay, and now you can take your mouse, hold it down, and now it'll select both of those. So just click your mouse, hold it down, and drag this box across both pieces. You can right click and then hit group, and now you have this one whole piece that you can move together. And you can bring it over to the corner and size it. I'm gonna do it about 6 inches, I think. Okay, so now option number 2 is to go ahead and bring your whole image in at one time. I'm gonna go ahead and bring this in. I'm gonna get rid of all of the white one more time. Okay. Going to click to save it as a cut image, save, and bring it into Cricut Design Space. Okay, so we have 2 colors total. So you're gonna go ahead and copy and paste to get 2 images. We're gonna start with this one. This first one, I'm gonna do just the flowers. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna click on your image and you're gonna go down here and click this contour button. And now it's gonna bring up all of your individual pieces of your image. Okay? And what you can do is you can click hide all contours. So it's gonna unclick every single one except one. So this piece right here, you can see is still selected. The dark gray is still selected, and that's one big piece of vinyl because it's all connected. Now I want all the flower part, all the flower petals to be connected. And you can see why I kind of dislike this one. It's really hard to see what's selected and what isn't selected because it kind of looks like all of this in the middle is selected too. But I'm going to go through and click all of these outer petals. And then click out of it. Okay, so we need to go back in and figure out what needs to be clicked off. So it looks like, and this is the other thing, like you can see that it's highlighting the G right now, even though I'm not really on the G. So I'm trying to get that inner circle. Okay, now the inner circle, there we go. So that's what is kind of tricky about this. It's hard to kind of tell where you're clicking, and you kind of have to play around with it, because now the inner circle is highlighted because that's actually like negative space, but you have to click it on in order for it to turn out like this. So that's why I don't recommend that way, but if that makes more sense to you, by all means do it that way. So now we just have to come over here and do the complete opposite to this one and contour out all of the petals. Again, I'm going to hit hide all contours. And it clicks just one to keep on, because it's not going to get rid of your image completely. So again, it clicked this big flower petal is still on. So we're going to go through and we're going to click the pieces that we want. We want the inside of the bee to be negative space, and then we want the flower out. So it looks like that should be good. It has all of this highlighted. So let's click off and see what it looks like. Yep. So now you can do the same thing. You can go ahead and change your colors, change this, change that, and voila. You have it in there. So again, just your preference. So now I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this one, and we're going to cut this one. So you're going to go up to your top and click Make It. And this is how it shows you. You have to cut 2 different colors. So the top one will show your first color, which in our case is black. Second color, which is our case is yellow. So we're doing adhesive vinyl, which you're just going to keep it as it is. You don't need to mirror adhesive vinyl. Because it's just going to stick straight onto whatever you're sticking on like a sticker, okay? And now you're just going to cut your material like you did in the previous tutorial. So I'm going to turn my Cricut on, open it up. This time you want to make sure that your knob, I know that's hard to see because of where my here, let me pull it out. You're just going to make sure your knob is switched to regular vinyl, okay? So the first color we need to load onto our mat is black. So I picked a sparkly black. Let me just peel this up. Okay, and you just stick the back of the vinyl down onto the mat just like this. Okay, and then you will load it just the same. Make sure it's stuck on there very good. Sorry, I'm doing this one-handed, so it's kind of hard. Make sure it's stuck on there. You click continue, just like you did in the previous tutorial, and then you load it. Now I'm going to let this first color cut, and then I will show you how to change your colors. Okay, so this just finished cutting the black, and it's going to do the same thing, and it's going to flash the arrow, and you're going to go ahead and click that to unload it. Now when you can come up here, you can see that the black has a check mark, and the yellow is ready to be cut. It's highlighted, ready to go, okay? So I'm just using the same mat because I didn't want to get another one out. I'm going to pull the black vinyl up off of it, and I'm going to add my yellow vinyl. Just like so. Sorry, I'm trying to do this one-handed, and it can be kind of hard to do one-handed. Okay. And push it flat. You can use your little Cricut squeegee tool, but I just don't have it on me, so I'm just pushing it on with my hand. Okay. And now we're going to get it loaded again. So it's going to show the arrow to load it just the same way. You load it, click the flashing arrow button. Okay, you have regular vinyl, you have the mirror off, and it is on yellow, and we are ready to cut the second color. Okay, I'm going to let this cut, and then I will show you what to do next. Okay, now the yellow has finished cutting, and you just unload it like usual. Now we're going to get to weeding. Okay, so now we're going to weed our vinyl. Just like usual, I'm going to go ahead and cut off all the extra. It's getting dark in here. I should have put on extra light. Okay. hard to see. Okay. Now I have 2 pieces of vinyl. And I'm going to lead I grabbed the Cricut tool I did not like very much. Okay, there's the monogram part. Now let's do the sunflower part. Pretty easy design to read overall, so I pulled off that. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to layer this. So it's easier to take the small piece of vinyl first in this instance. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to cut this to size, okay? Now there's a bunch of different ways to do this. When it's something like this that is this large, relatively, I like to start with a smaller piece first. So what I like to do though, is I don't, by the way, I did not talk about this, I am so sorry. This is called transfer tape. And transfer tape is what you use to get your decal onto whatever surface that you are putting your decal on. So transfer tape is just a clear, a lot of the times it has grid on, like grid so you can see what you're doing, and it's just clear sticky tape that you use. Cricut has it, there's a bunch of other brands, but I'm going to show you how to use your transfer tape to transfer your decal onto a surface. I'm so sorry, I meant to say that, but I got a little ahead of myself. So this is my trick to making sure that you don't have any bubbles on your transfer tape. Otherwise you might have bubbles in your final design. So go ahead and fold it down like this to where just a bit of your transfer tape is loose, okay? And you're just gonna go ahead and line that up however you would. I'm just gonna line this up in the middle as best as I can. Okay? I'm gonna press it down. You can use your squeegee for this too. I just don't have it with me. To where it looks like this. Now what you can do is you can grab the piece that's folded down and see what I'm doing? You can do this on the table so it's a lot easier, but I'm holding it up. You just pull this off and your transfer tape is going to slowly pull down onto your design, okay? Now, once again, you can use your squeegee to flatten it out. I'm just using my fingers because I forgot to grab it. So now what you're left is your decal with your transfer tape over it, okay? Now we have to take this backing off. So the best way to do this is to lay it like this. So the backing is up, the decal is laying towards the table, okay? You're gonna take the corner, you're gonna hold down the transfer tape, and you're going to pull it back to where it's flat, okay? Completely flat, and you're going to slowly pull back to leave your vinyl on your transfer tape. Now, if a corner sticks, you can stick your finger on it and kind of push it down while you pull back to prevent it from pulling up. Now, you have your transfer tape with your vinyl, okay? Now what we're going to do is center this onto our decal, okay? So you have your sunflower decal, you have your monogram decal, okay? Now, you could just take this and you could directly put it onto whatever you're putting it on. So if you're just doing a one color design, this is how you would do it, okay? You would just stick it straight on there. I'm gonna show you a trick to easily get things lined up. So I'm gonna take this backing I'm going to go ahead and cut off where I bent it earlier. Okay? I'm going to stick this back on there. So that was just to show you how to peel this up. Okay? Because if you're just doing a one color design, you peel it up like that, you stick it onto whatever surface. So this is what we have. We're back to this. So I bent that piece down, I cut it off. So we have half of the decal on our backing and half the decal not. So this will make it easier when finding your center, because you can move it when you're looking around, because it's not all sticky, okay? You can move it and center it, okay? So I'm gonna lay that down. I'm gonna get it as straight as I can. I'm gonna go ahead and get this centered. Okay, so it was a lot easier to get that on there. If you have the whole thing, the whole backing pulled off and you're trying to center this, that could leave a problem, because if you stick it down and it's not centered the first time, you're gonna have a hard time getting it centered. So now what you can do is, just like what I showed before, you can go ahead and pull the rest of this transfer tape off, and it should come off pretty smooth since you already pulled that decal off. You can go ahead and pull that off, press it down, and it should be centered. Even with this trick, it may still take you some tries to get these designs centered. It's not easy to do, so it's going to take some practice. It's going to take some tries to get these designs centered. So I don't want you to fret or worry if you mess up the first one, okay? So now what I'm going to do is slowly pull this transfer tape off. The same method. You have it pulled back completely. You can see that this is sticking, so I'm just using my fingers to hold down to stick it to the new backing. Okay, I'm just holding the decal, the monogram down as I go, and this is going to leave you with your whole decal on one sheet. Okay, now you have to be careful when you're doing smaller designs first, because it is going to want to try to pull up, in this case the petals, so you just have to be careful and go slowly. Okay. Okay, so now you have your whole design on one thing. Okay? Just like that. Now, you can get a bigger piece. In order to transfer your entire design to whatever you're wanting to transfer it to. Okay. So now I have this piece, cut it to 6 inches by 6 inches, because that was what my design was. I'm going to do with the same thing I did. I'm going to peel it up and bend this back. Just keeping a little bit of this showing, okay? I'm going to center it on my design. Push it down. Get all those bubbles out. You can use your squeegee. Again, I just forgot to grab mine. I'll show you the side view. Go ahead and grab that flap. Pull it down. Push down as you're going. Okay? And your decal is ready to be transferred. So now if you were selling it to a customer, you would leave it just like this, and then they would peel it up, okay? And they would stick it to whatever surface they're sticking it to. Okay? I'm just flattening this out. Okay. I'm going to put this on my laptop just to show you guys how to transfer it. Now remember, whatever project you're doing depends on what kind of vinyl. So I actually use temporary vinyl for this, since I'm putting it on my laptop and I don't want it to be permanent. If you wanted it to be a permanent design on your laptop, totally fine to use permanent. If you're doing a car decal, which I know some people were interested in, use permanent vinyl. Otherwise, it's not going to stay throughout the rain and all of that. Okay, make sure that your area is clean, especially for cars and outdoor things, before you add your decal. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing that I've done before. We're going to lay it upside down, and we're going to slowly peel back the backing. And this time and you see how that petal didn't want to come off? I just push it back and push it down and it came off. Slowly pull it off. Remember, go slow, because if you go fast, you may end up ripping something. Perfect. So you have your whole decal on your transfer paper. So, like I said, which way do I want to put this? I'll put it this way. I don't really want this to be permanent, so I'm not super worried about where it's placed. I'm just going to try to get it in the middle as best I can. If you're doing something like this and you want it to get placed right in the middle, you can measure and all of that. Okay, so just stick it on there, just like that. And then take your squeegee and pull it off. Again, sorry, I couldn't find mine when I was getting all my material ready. So you stick it on there and squeegee it down. You just kind of look at it. A flat surface like this, you shouldn't have any trouble not getting bubbles, but if you do, just squeegee it until you can try to get them all out. And just like before, you're going to take your transfer tape and you're going to peel it straight back. Now, I have really sticky transfer tape, so sometimes I have a trouble with the vinyl sticking to the transfer tape when I'm trying to peel it up. So I just have to take my time, and if it tries to come up where it's not supposed to, I push it back down with my finger. But this is actually doing pretty well. I'm telling you guys, this technique of pulling it all the way back like this is the best. Okay, if you try other methods, your vinyl may not stick as well. See how easy that was? That was not hard at all. Okay, so now look at that. Our decal is on our computer. And you can do that same exact thing for your car, for a window, for a wall, anything like that. So I hope you guys have fun with this project. What?